What is going on, IF Warriors? So today we're going to talk about what is the most popular diet or the number one diet in the world. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, if you follow the diet landscape and things of like the U.S. News yearly diet rankings, where they rank over hundreds of different diets based on a score of a healthiness score out of 5, a weight loss score out of 5, and I believe a third category that's escaping me right now. But they rank these to determine what is the best diet that exists in the world at this current moment. And that diet has been the number one diet on that list, has been the number one diet for about 4 years in a row. So it's held the mantle for a long time. Now, I know what you're thinking. It isn't intermittent fasting. Unfortunately, intermittent fasting on the US News is ranked somewhere in the hundreds. And I believe the reason that it's ranked there is because there's still this stigma that's attached to fasting. Even though studies show that at bare minimum, if you wanted to go to the bare minimum of intermittent fasting, when compared to just normal caloric restriction or a normal diet, it gives the same results. The same results come from it in the sense of the same kind of like cardiovascular, like biological diseases, reduction in biological diseases and things of that nature, where it's not unhealthy in the sense of how your body reacts to it and what can happen with your body. Of course, there's differences and slight differences in terms of weight loss and body fat loss and stuff like that, but it's incredibly similar, to the point where the researchers always say there's no difference in the sense of you can choose whichever one you want. Do you want to do intermittent fasting, where the intermittent fasting is what helps you control calories, or do you want to just eat multiple times a day throughout the day, but just control your calorie intake via the portions of the foods that you're eating? So yeah, it's the same thing as calorie restriction for many researchers in terms of health wise, but yet it's still considered unhealthy because you are fasting. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell them, because the studies show that there's health wise, you get the best of whatever. But either way, the number one diet in the world is the Mediterranean diet. Now, the reason that the Mediterranean diet was even constructed was because researchers found out a while back that people that lived in the Mediterranean region had way lower numbers of cancer and type 2 diabetes and heart disease and all of these different things that are prevalent in the American society. They didn't have any of that stuff. It's actually very low for the people in the Mediterranean region. And what do they eat? What's the thing that they eat? It's high vegetables, high fiber vegetables with lean protein. So this actually can create a duo where you actually feel satisfied, because both fiber makes you feel full as well as protein. So if you're eating fiber, a lot of fiber, and you're eating lean protein, then you get that sensation of feeling satisfied or feeling full. It's really geared more towards vegetables. It's more vegetables and non-processed foods, and then it's a little bit of lean protein. I'm not really that like gung-ho about the Mediterranean diet. I do understand that it is considered the most balanced in terms of diet structure. It's the most balanced, as opposed to, for example, being a vegetarian or vegan. It's just one kind of thing where you're not eating meat in terms of like red meat or lean meat or anything like that. You're still getting protein as a vegan vegetarian, but you're just not getting meat. You're not eating meat. So this has a balance to it that is rarely seen in most diets that try to focus on specific macronutrients. And I think that that's one of the reasons why this is considered number one in the world. Now, there's still studies that need to be done in terms of the Mediterranean diet. There are Mediterranean diet studies, but there needs to be more Mediterranean diet studies. One reason why I wouldn't even put Mediterranean diet studies above intermittent fasting, for example, is because intermittent fasting has a bunch of studies. We know so much about intermittent fasting because back in 2019, intermittent fasting was the #1 searched diet in the world on Google. It ranked #1 in terms of search on Google. So people care more about intermittent fasting than they do the Mediterranean diet. Thus, there were more data, because when a researcher creates a paper, they want the paper to gain traction. They want, because this elevates their positioning in research, right? This helps get their name out there so that their papers can be viewed, and then the journals would want to take on another paper from that specific researcher, because then it allows them to be more flexible with the things that they're researching and actually care about, and the things that they care about when they're researching. So people want to make sure that they're delivering something that, yes, it is done the correct way, but it is popular as well. There's a popularization to it so that they can get the eyeballs on their paper. So there's way more studies of intermittent fasting than there is of Mediterranean diet. And then all of those studies of intermittent fasting is incredibly popular, or incredibly telling, because they've broken it down in so many different ways in terms of the blood glucose, the weight loss, fat loss, comparing it to different types of diets, and just doing running the gamut with intermittent fasting. There's more than 100,000 intermittent fasting studies already, dating back to 1995. So yeah, if it was me, I would rank it based off of data alone. But I get that the U.S. News, who ranks all the diets, ranks it in a way of how balanced is this, and I guess the Mediterranean diet is the most balanced. So if you wanted to know what was the #1 diet in the world, the Mediterranean diet is the #1 diet. Now, what you do is a bunch of olive oil, a bunch of high fiber vegetables, and a little bit of lean protein, like chicken or eggs, like those kind of things. So if you want to take a look at that, you can. It is up to you. The good thing about if you do intermittent fasting is that it is the chameleon diet, where you can do all these other diets or try all these other diets if you like, even when you're doing intermittent fasting. They should get a score on flexibility. Flexibility should be one of the scores as well. I think intermittent fasting would take that. Until the next one, guys. Hope this video was informative for you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Peace out.